Hi everybody, I'm Coach Jennifer Badeaux with Orange County Virtual School. Today we're going to talk a little bit about human trafficking, and this is a new subject matter that we're including in Florida courses, so I want to make sure that you have some of that information. You can always reach out after this presentation if you have any questions. Since this isn't a live presentation, but I wanted all of my students to have access to the information. So here's the first bit of information. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my webcam so we can focus on the actual material that we're discussing. So let's talk about some ground rules. In most of our presentations, we always want to be respectful, participate, and challenge your thought process. It is heavy content, and we want to make sure that we're taking it seriously. So the first thing I'd like you to do is kind of self-reflect for a minute and give yourself a self-rating score. On a 4-point scale, 4 being the highest, what would you give yourself for your understanding of human trafficking? A 4, I know all about human trafficking and can teach others about this issue. 3, I understand a little bit about human trafficking. And 2, I've heard of it, but I really don't have a good understanding of it. And 1, I've heard the term, but that's about it. So where would you fall on that? And just take mental note there. Would you rate yourself as a 4, 3, 2, or a 1? The reason we're adding the human trafficking information is because Florida is actually the first state to add this to the curriculum. This is the rule. I'm not going to read you the rule since it's right there in front of you, but basically every student every year should be taught the material about human trafficking. So this is just a start, but it's wonderful that Florida is taking that initiative and is the first state that's including the information. So what is human trafficking? This information comes directly from the Department of Homeland Security and their Blue Campaign. The Blue Campaign is out there to help fight against human trafficking. Human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Millions of people are affected by this every year. This is important because you've got to first understand what human trafficking is to understand what to look for. I did have a student recently tell me that they didn't understand human trafficking. They had heard the term, but they really thought it was when a bunch of people got out in the road and caused a traffic issue, which understandably by human trafficking, that's what those words very literally kind of make you think of. So let's expand on that and let's understand what human trafficking actually is. It is much more of a modern day form of slavery. The Department of Homeland Security is a great resource out there, as is A21, which is another organization that is helping to create the curriculum for Florida, and they're going to talk about the things that we can do to be safe. So let's take a look at a video from the Blue Campaign. And I'm going to share that video right now. You can also see that the link is on the bottom right.
What is human trafficking? Human trafficking is modern day slavery. It's the exploitation, harassment, force, fraud, human smuggling, and human trafficking. Different crimes. Human smuggling is the illegal movement of someone across the border. Human trafficking is the illegal exploitation of a person. Human trafficking is about exploitation, transportation. Human trafficking is a highly profitable crime. Violation of human rights occurs in every part of the world. And here in the United States, happens in our big cities, suburbs, happens in human trafficking victims can be citizens or from other countries, except any age, race, or gender. What they share is that they are vulnerable to exploiting. There are different types of human trafficking, including sex trafficking, slavery, and servitude. Sex trafficking victims are mostly against their will, sex acts of love. Sex traffickers like the Badeaux also love affection No exceptions. Forced labor takes on many forms. It happens here in the US and overseas. Victims are made to work with no pay. Very often, these victims are forced to take capture every day. Factories and farms and construction. These youngers are hidden in plain sight. Still working in the United States. Traffickers sometimes take their identification. Track up. Every year in the United States, thousands of human traffickers. That's because human trafficking is a hidden problem. That's why help combat this heinous crime. They're raising awareness of human trafficking around the country. Can't do it alone. So what can you do to stop human trafficking? Share this video for free. No one makes it up to lie. Suspected human trafficking.
So that's just a brief look at the different ways that human trafficking can happen, not only in the US, but throughout the entire world. So hopefully that gave you a little bit better of an idea of what human trafficking is. There are so many examples that are out there, and there are so many people that are telling their stories. It can happen to anyone. It can happen no matter what age you are, where you live, what gender you are. I had a couple of years ago, student who came to me kind of late in the year as a senior and needed the Hope class to graduate. And part of her story involved human trafficking. She was adopted from another country. She was actually adopted out of Africa and came over here and was traded for help babysitting and help cleaning houses. And until somebody finally reported it, they had no idea. They had no idea this was even happening. So it does happen, and it happens in our community, and it happens here, right here in Central Florida. We're going to look at a little bit of statistics as we go on as well. But I want you first to kind of take a minute and think about this. How does that make you feel? What does it make you feel? What would you do if this happened to someone you know, or you suspected that it was happening to someone you know? How can you avoid these situations? Did you take note of texting Be Free and how to turn that in and turn someone in if you suspect it? You can always watch this again or go to Blue Campaign for those phone numbers. Where can you go for help? Not only those phone numbers, but your trusted adults in your life. Your big people, your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, older siblings, your teachers, your guidance counselors, your coaches. Those are the people that can help you if you think something like this is going on. There are so many stories out there. If you want more information, you can easily Google human trafficking stories, but Take that with a bit of caution, because some of those stories are hard to hear. Take this video, watch it with your parents, have that discussion at home, because if you have siblings and they haven't heard about human trafficking, you might be the one that's introducing that information to them. And we want to look at that information, because right here, look at this information. Here's human trafficking cases reported by state. What does it say? What do you notice? Here's the very, very scary thing. I want you to look at this very closely. Do you see that California is first, Texas is second, but Florida is third? Florida is third on this list. That's scary. There's a lot of it happening here, and we need to make sure that we're aware of that situation. Again, here's another quick view of those phone numbers. The texting help to be free. I also talked to some students about, sometimes you'll go into a restroom and you'll see stickers on the back of the stall doors. And several students did talk about how they saw this. Sometimes that's the only moment that those people can get free. So it kind of gives them that moment, or it might be the moment that you see something happening and you can call for help for them. So we've talked very little about introducing human trafficking here. And I know this is a little quick since we're not really interacting with this, but I ask you, interact with me. Leave me a comment, message me, text me, email me if you want to talk about this and you want some more information, or if you have somebody and I need to be your trusted adult because you need some help and you need something. I am here, your teachers are here, your adults are here. If you're not someone I personally know and you found this video, feel free to reach out to Be Free. It's a great resource, but the first thing we have to do is we have to explain what human trafficking is, and we have to share and spread the word so that other people know what is happening and to be aware. So think back to the beginning of this lesson when you started rating yourself on your knowledge. Did you know what human trafficking was? Did you have an understanding of that? Did you know about the difference between human trafficking and human smuggling? Did that make sense? Are you now feeling more like a 4, 3, a 2? Or are you still down there at the 1? Hopefully we've boosted you up a little bit with your knowledge. And if I have students, this is how my students will get credit, but just reach out to me directly. More than anything, I just wanted you to come. I wanted you to learn a little bit about human trafficking, and I wanted you to understand. Again, Blue Campaign at the Department of Homeland Security is a great resource, as is A21. Reach out to me if you need that information, but thanks for taking the time to listen.